Brought to you by WikiVidi.com. KRIS Kristofferson. Kristoffer Kristofferson is an American singer, songwriter, musician, and actor. He wrote and recorded the songs "Me and Bobby McGee," "For the Good Times," "Sunday Mornin Comin Down," and "Help Me Make It Through the Night." Kristofferson composed his own songs and collaborated with Nashville songwriters such as Shel Silverstein. In 1985, Kristofferson joined fellow country artists Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson, and Johnny Cash in forming the country music supergroup the Highwaymen. In 2004, Kristofferson was inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame. He is also known for his starring roles in Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore and A Star Is Born, for the latter of which he won a Golden Globe Award for Best Actor. Early life. Kristoffer Kristofferson was born in Brownsville, Texas, to Mary Ann and Lars Henry Kristofferson, a U.S. Army Air Corps officer. His paternal grandparents emigrated from Sweden, while his mother had English, Scottish, Irish, German, Swiss German, and Dutch ancestry. Kristofferson's paternal grandfather was an officer in the Swedish Army. When Kristofferson was a child, his father pushed him towards a military career. At the age of 17, Kristofferson took a summer job with a dredging contractor on Wake Island. He called it the hardest job I ever had. Education. Like most military brats, Kristofferson moved around frequently as a youth, finally settling down in San Mateo, California, where he graduated from San Mateo High School. An aspiring writer, Kristofferson enrolled in Pomona College in 1954. He experienced his first dose of fame when he appeared in Sports Illustrated's "Faces in the Crowd" for his achievements in collegiate rugby union, American football, and track and field. He and his classmates revived the Claremont College's rugby club in 1958, which has remained a Southern California rugby institution. Kristofferson became a member of Kappa Delta fraternity at Pomona College, graduating in 1958 with a Bachelor of Arts degree, summa cum laude, in literature. He was elected to Phi Beta Kappa his junior year. In a 2004 interview with Pomona College magazine, Kristofferson mentioned philosophy professor Frederick Sontag as an important influence in his life. Kristofferson earned a Rhodes Scholarship to Oxford University, where he studied at Merton College. While at Oxford, he was awarded his blue for boxing, played rugby for his college, and began writing songs. At Oxford, he was also acquainted with fellow Rhodes Scholar, art critic, and poet Michael Fried. With the help of his manager, Larry Parnes, Kristofferson recorded for Top Rank Records under the name Kris Carson. Parnes was working to sell Kristofferson as a Yank at Oxford to the British public. Kristofferson was willing to accept that promotional approach if it helped his singing career, which he hoped would enable him to progress towards his goal of becoming a novelist. This early phase of his music career was unsuccessful. In 1960, Kristofferson graduated with a B.Phil in English literature. The following year he married his longtime girlfriend, Frances Mavia Beer. Military service. Kristofferson, under pressure from his family, ultimately joined the U.S. Army and attained the rank of captain. He became a helicopter pilot after receiving flight training at Fort Rucker, Alabama. He also completed Ranger School. During the early 1960s, he was stationed in West Germany as a member of the 8th Infantry Division. During this time, he resumed his music career and formed a band. In 1965, when his tour of duty ended, Kristofferson was given an assignment to teach English literature at West Point. Instead, he decided to leave the army and pursue songwriting. His family disowned him because of his career decision, and sources are unclear on whether or not they ever truly reconciled. They saw it as a rejection of everything they stood for. In spite of the fact that Kristofferson has said he is proud of his time in the military and received the American Veterans Awards Veteran of the Year Award in 2003. Music. After leaving the army in 1965, Kristofferson moved to Nashville. He worked at a variety of odd jobs while struggling for success in music, burdened with medical expenses resulting from his son's defective esophagus. He and his wife soon divorced. He got a job sweeping floors at Columbia Recording Studios in Nashville. He met June Carter there and asked her to give Johnny Cash a tape of his. She did, but Johnny put it in a large pile with others. Weeks later, Kristofferson landed a helicopter in Cash's front yard, gaining his full attention. Note: in a later interview, Kristofferson maintained Cash was not at home when he landed the helicopter. The story about Kristofferson having a beer in one hand and some songs in the other is a fable. Cash decided to record Sunday Mornin Comin Down, and that year Kristofferson won Songwriter of the Year at the Country Music Awards. He also worked as a commercial helicopter pilot for a South Louisiana firm called Petroleum Helicopters International, based in Lafayette, Louisiana. Kristofferson recalled of his days as a pilot: "That was about the last 3 years before I started performing. Before people started cutting my songs, I would work a week down here in South Louisiana for sitting on an oil platform and flying helicopters. Then I'd go back to Nashville at the end of the week and spend a week up there trying to pitch the songs, then come back down and write songs for another week. I can remember, help me make it through the night. I wrote sitting on top of an oil platform. I wrote Bobby McGee, Down Here, and a lot of them in South Louisiana." In 1966, Dave Dudley released a successful Kristofferson single, Vietnam Blues. In 1967, Kristofferson signed to Epic Records and released a single, Golden Idol, Killing Time. But the song was not successful. Within the next few years, more Kristofferson originals hit the charts, performed by Roy Drusky, Billy Walker and the Tennessee Walkers, Ray Stevens, Jerry Lee Lewis, Farron Young, and Roger Miller. He achieved some success as a performer himself, following Johnny Cash's introduction of him at the Newport Folk Festival. Kristofferson signed to Monument Records as a recording artist. In addition to running that label, Fred Foster also served as manager of Combined Music, Kristofferson's songwriting label. His debut album for Monument in 1970 was Kristofferson, which included a few new songs, as well as many of his previous hits. Sales were poor, although this debut album would become a success the following year, when it was re-released under the title Me and Bobby McGee. Kristofferson's compositions were still in high demand. Ray Price, Gladys Knight and the Pips, Waylon Jennings, Bobby Bare, Johnny Cash, and Sammy Smith all recorded successful versions of his songs in the early 1970s. For the Good Times won Song of the Year in 1970 from the Academy of Country Music, while Sunday Mornin Comin Down won the same award from the Academy's rival, the Country Music Association, in the same year. This is the only time an individual received the same award from these two organizations in the same year for different songs. In 1971, Janis Joplin, who dated Kristofferson for some time until her death, had a #1 hit with Me and Bobby McGee from her posthumous album Pearl. When released, It stayed on the #1 spot on the charts for weeks. More hits followed. From others, Ray Price, Joe Simon, Bobby Bare, O.C. Smith, Jerry Lee Lewis, Patti Page, and Peggy Little. The country music performer Kenny Rogers has also recorded some of Kristofferson's compositions, including a version of Me and Bobby McGee in 1969 with the first edition for the Ruby Don't Take Your Love to Town album. Kristofferson released his second album, The Silver-Tongued Devil and I, in 1971, including Love and Her Was Easier. It was a success, and established Kristofferson's career as a recording artist in his own right. Soon after, Kristofferson made his acting debut in The Last Movie and appeared at the Isle of Wight Festival. A portion of his Isle of Wight performance is featured on the 3-disc compilation, The First Great Rock Festivals of the 70s. In 1971, he acted in Cisco Pike, and released his third album, Border Lord. The album was all new material, and sales were sluggish. He also swept the Grammy Awards that year with numerous songs nominated, winning Country Song of the Year for Help Me Make It Through the Night. Kristofferson's 1972 fourth album, Jesus Was a Capricorn, initially had slow sales, but the third single, Why Me, was a success and significantly increased album sales. It sold over 1 million copies, and was awarded a gold disc by the RIAA on November 8, 1973. In 1972, Kristofferson appeared with Rita Coolidge on British TV on BBC's The Old Grey Whistle Test, performing a physically intimate version of Help Me Make It Through the Night. Thank you for watching. Brought to you by WikiVidi.com. Please like and subscribe below. Please like and subscribe below.